Monday, April 24th, 2017. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk?
Present.
Council Perry,
Present.
Councilor Bo,
Yep.
Councilor Ryan. Present. Councilor Shabbat,
Present.
Councilor DiMederos,
Present.
Councilor Edwards, and Councilor Hilton are absent.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Consent agenda is brought before the council. Consent agenda, CA1A, approval of regular council meeting minutes, March 27th, 2017. 1B, approval of special council meeting minutes, casino site walk, April 15th, 2017. CA2, receipt of minutes from the following boards and commissions. A, Cemetery Commission. B, Harbor and Coastal Waters Management Commission. C, Tiverton Prevention Coalition. D, Zoning Board of Review. E, Planning Board of Appeals. And F, Open Space and Land Preservation Commission. CA3, correspondence receive and file. A, Representative Robert J. Quattrucci, Committee on Finance regarding H5606, regarding support to create a special legislative commission to study a recycling program for all multifamily residential units, including condominium complexes. B, Susan Gill, Planning Board Vice Chair, Tiverton Planning Board Site Walk Report. CA4, Treasurer Denise Charette, distribution of budget and revenue reports for March 2017. CA5, Tiverton Garden Club, permission to hang 2 banners on town property for Tiverton Cleanup Week from Saturday, April 22nd to Saturday, May 6th, on fence at Boogamarsh Road Playground and at Town Farm on Main Road, and to waive annual permission to coincide with Cleanup Week. Any items to be removed from the consent agenda?
I'd like to remove CA4.
CA4. Any others? Do I have a motion for the remainder?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Unanimous. CA4,
That's the budget and revenue reports. As it's in your packet, and I'll try to make this really brief. As you can see, there's many accounts in the red. I met with Denise Shabbat a couple of times last week, and I also know that Matt met with her concerning next month's trash and trash until June. There are a lot of accounts in the red. She tentatively has a plan. I'd like your permission to meet with her within the next 2 weeks. At that point, we'll try to do a 2-month trash. We'll be able to pay for 2 months of trash and also try to reconcile some of these accounts. I just asked Tony, at this point, I feel the council needs to freeze all accounts for 2 weeks until we can look at this. And this is also a recommendation of Denise, I'm not doing this on my own. Look at this for 2 weeks, look at where we can, because it's something, if you think about it, we need $100,000 more from trash and about 140 more to reconcile these accounts. So we need about 240. I think it's there, and so does she, but we need to make sure these accounts aren't spent until we can look at this. Of course, we have to spend on anything that we need to spend on per contract. But I want to, and Tony, am I right, Tony? I can make the motion to freeze all accounts.
In connection with this line item, yes, because it's a report from the town treasurer. Essentially, what you're doing is you're ratifying what the town treasurer wants to do in connection with these accounts.
I talked to Denise a couple of days ago. I offered to sit with her, look through the accounts with her. I have some ideas. She has a lot of ideas. Matt sat with her before leaving, and gave her some ideas. So what I would like from the council is permission to sit with Denise in the next 2 weeks. Meanwhile, freeze all accounts except what we really have to pay for 2 weeks. And then we will come back to you with a report.
I'll make that a motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Thank you.
Unanimous. Open public forum for announcements, comments, and questions. What? Renee DeJesus Jones, EDC, come up to the podium.
Renee DeJesus Jones, 161 Highland Road. There was some confusion this week about, we had 2 applicants that came in after the deadline for the agenda. I was able to get one of them to come in for, if you want, for an interview, but his name is actually not listed on the agenda. So, and Mark Pfeiffer's on a business trip, so I'm sorry, I'm throwing myself on the mercy of the court here. I'm trying my best, guys. It's, it's like nailing Jello to a tree, but I would like either a delay or just some guidance from the town council as to what they would like me to do. Mr. Van Hoff is here if you'd like to interview him, but like I said, he's not on the agenda, so.
Could he still be interviewed? Could he still be interviewed even though he's not on the agenda?
I got to tell you something. The only way that he gets interviewed is that if that is something that the council would vote to allow.
Well,
I'll ma-
there could potentially be a decision tonight, right?
Well, he's here to talk to you, and we do have another applicant who is actually a business person in town. She owns a business, her husband owns a business. I would like that person to, before any decisions are made, that person be interviewed as well.
Would you be willing to just wait another couple of weeks?
I
That
would
way we
be
get
fine with
everybody
that.
in?
I would be delighted with that if that's okay with you, but that's why I brought it up.
I'll make a motion that we,
Well, we can't make a motion at this point. It's when we come to appointments.
That way you have a heads up, you know what's going on.
But
Yeah,
can
I
we
didn't
still, can we still interview him?
can't you make a motion to interview him tonight?
Well,
At that
actually, when
point in
that
the
agenda item comes up, that's when the motion would be
Oh.
made.
Okay. Gary Vieira, complaint against agents of the town?
My name is Gary Vieira. I have complaints against the police chief, town manager, town solicitor, past and present councils. I went in to make a complaint on, I think it was November 21st, to Chief Blakey, and he had threw me out of his office and told me never to return. Please, he said.
What was your complaint?
Some people file false documents for town records. Number of criminal acts. Too big to discuss here. But you have houses that are built in right-of-ways. They don't adhere to the setbacks. It's cost me hundreds of thousands of dollars. It's costing all these taxpayers tens of thousands of dollars. And your administrations, past and present, are covering us up.
Mr. Solicitor, is there any open litigation involving Mr. Vieira?
Correct, yes, this case is pending in court.
That's civil.
It's a civil case,
What I'm
yes,
talking about
but
is
it's pending in
criminal.
court.
This is criminal.
Yeah, the town is a defendant in the case.
So we don't address the criminal aspects of what these people have done.
And I want to make sure that you're clear on this. Mr. Vieira filed a lawsuit against the town. The subject matter that he's talking about is the subject matter of this case. okay? What he's talking about now is that's part of the case. So I understand he's got a right to say what he wants to say here, but I want you to know there's a case pending in court. There is.
Okay.
But they're not addressing the criminal aspects of this case.
But if it's part of the civil case,
Civil case, but not the criminal. So the people that have perpetrated these things don't have to have attorneys. I've been counseled by police chiefs, town managers, everything. I should have an attorney. I'm a victim, and I have to have an attorney to make a criminal case. This is the second time with this police chief. Second time. We had a court order in place, and they still arrested me. I spent 9 months fooling around in the courtroom until everything gets dismissed. So this isn't the first time with him. It's the second time. And he refuses to look at it. He investigates what the criminals say. And I've told his people, investigate what I'm saying. And you'll see, these houses don't belong there.
Okay, that's a civil matter. The question is if they're in the
No,
right of
what if-
way, that's a subject matter of the case. So what Mr. Vieira is saying now is it's criminal, but that's part of the civil case. That's the question.
so really, there's nothing we can discuss on this matter at this point.
That's
Until-
correct, yes.
Well, you
Until
can do
there's
the
a ruling,
investigation. And if it's criminal, then you charge the criminals, seize their assets, whatever you have to do, knock down their houses. It's criminal.
Tony, could
When
we
you
put
erase lines off of plot plans, and you have attorneys procure title insurance for you and bank financing, that's all criminal. This is Pandora's box. There's a whole bunch of people involved in this. And this town and its administration is covering it up.
Okay, can I just say this? There's no cover-up. The case is in court. Mr. Vieira's got to prosecute his case in court, and it's a civil matter, and he's got to go forward on that thing. The town is a defendant, and we're defending the case for what allegations he's made against the town.
Tony, could we put this on an executive session in 2 weeks, and you could tell us about this? Because
Yeah, I can, yes.
have no idea what Mr. Vieira is talking about.
I can tell you what the case is all about.
So
That's
could we
exactly
place
correct,
this
yes.
on an executive
Correct.
session, and then we're able to talk about it?
Yes.
Because I really don't have any idea what it is.
Wouldn't
Okay.
Wouldn't there have to be a ruling on the civil matter first before you could pursue the criminal matter?
Well, what Mr. Vieira is saying is criminal is really civil. He's made the civil allegation. The case is in court, and that's where it stands.
Until there's a ruling. Okay.
Correct.
Yep.
So we can place this on executive and talk about it?
Most certainly, yes.
Is that all right, Joe?
Certainly, certainly.
But if these people had built their houses in the middle of a right-of-way, no matter what takes place, the town and its agent should rectify the situation.
And
They can't allow it to exist.
what we're saying is, there is a criminal case,
The civil case.
Civil
a civil
case.
case, and that needs to be resolved. So the chief is correct in what he's saying, what he's doing, is he cannot take any action. It is in court, and awaiting decision on the matter from the court case before anything can proceed.
So once the civil matter is cleared up, then I can file a criminal complaint, is what you're saying.
Whatever the results,
It depends on what happens in court. But can I just say this? See, here's the difficulty. Mr. Vieira filed the case, okay? That's the forum he's at. There's really nothing you can do because he's already chosen to go to court on the matter.
all right, so the town's hands are tied.
That's
So
correct, yes.
We cannot do anything, the chief cannot do anything.
That's correct, yes.
The town council can't do anything.
So if nothing's
Until the-
done, then
until
these
the
people
court case
continue
is
to
completed.
have properties in the middle of a right-of-way in your town.
Well, if there's a lawsuit that's been filed, and that case has to finish up. And I'm going to give a report in 2 weeks, and I'm going to let them know what's going on in the case, so that the town council will know what's going on. But the plain fact of the matter is, it's your case. And you're going forward on that case, I assume. And that case has to finish up. And there's really nothing that the town can do now because you filed that case.
Oh, so they can't go after the people that perpetrated the crimes?
You're saying they're crimes, but you're arguing what you should be arguing in court here in front of the town council. You should be making those arguments in court.
They made a crime against the council, against this
So-
town. against this town.
When you
It's not
filed.
just me.
When you filed your case, that's where you make those arguments.
It sounds to me that this is some more shenanigans by a room full of attorneys.
Well,
Okay?
there's only one lawyer here, and I'm gonna make a report to them what's going on in that case. But that's what you did, you filed a case, you gotta see it through now.
Fine, fine. All these fine taxpayers out here are paying for this, okay? You know what took place down there. You know about all the bogus paperwork involved in this whole thing. You know about the cover-ups of this whole thing, and they're funding everything.
That's what you say.
As I know.
That's your case.
I know.
But we've said something else, and you know that too.
Yeah, well,
You do.
doesn't fly. It's criminal. The criminals should be handled before.
Mr. Vieira will handle this after the court case.
And I'll be notified?
should know.
You'll be in court. When it's done, come
Well, he
back.
said he's gonna have an executive session to go over this. Am I gonna
You
be?
have no idea what's going on, and you're throwing blame at a bunch of people that have no idea. So I'm just gonna ask that you just step off, and we'll deal with it at another time.
Very good.
Thank you, Mr. Vieira. B, public hearings and presentations. B1, John S. Vikovich, Portsmouth, Rhode Island, blue roadwork signs installed on state roads in Tiverton, requests approval of resolution.
Madam President, he is also before Portsmouth's Town Council, so he asked that they were going to take him first, and if you would address it when he comes in.
All right, we'll temporarily hold this item. B2, David Robert, Tax Assessor, update regarding the 2017 evaluation.
Madam
He's not here.
President, there was an emergency today, so he was with him, so he was unable to make it tonight. He's asked that you continue it to the next meeting.
Make a motion to continue this B2, Dave Robert, Tax Assessor, update regarding 2017 revaluation.
So moved.
Have a
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor? Continue to the next meeting.
This is gonna be quick.
This is an unusual night. Town Council sitting as Board of Licensing, non-advertised licenses. C1, Susan Boulay, Riverside Marina LLC, 211 Riverside Drive, request approval of holiday license, subject to meeting all legal requirements.
I don't see her in the audience, but she just purchased that marina, her and her husband, and all she's looking for is the holiday license.
Do I have a motion?
Motion,
Second.
Motion to
grant the
approve
holiday license.
holiday license, subject to meeting all legal requirements. Have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Unanimous.
John's here.
Yeah, John's here. C2, John Cadiro, Megan L. Cadiro Memorial Foundation, request approval of special event permit and permission to hold 8th annual Miles for Megan Bike Ride and Walk on Saturday, September 24th, 2017.
That should be
I love you, sweatshirt. Show the camera. Thank you.
This includes Tiverton and Little Compton, and it was referred to the police chief for recommendation and subject to all legal requirements. John?
Hi, we're here for permission to hold our annual event, once again, down at the Tiverton Town Farm. We will use the Tiverton Town Farm walking track for our registered walkers, and also Town Farm will be the start and finish for our bike ride. So we've got our parade route out to the state. We don't expect any issues. I don't see any big construction projects coming forward this summer, but we always seem to work around them. If there's an issue, the director of that construction project, if it is near us, usually contacts me and lets me know what's going on. And they don't usually do a lot of construction on a Saturday. So we've never had any issues. We issue a rules of the road handout to all of our bike riders, and we do a safety speech before we let them go. Each route has at least one, if not two, sag wagons, we call them, so vehicles patrolling the route in the opposite direction of the riders to look for anyone who's having an issue that need assistance or a ride back to the start, finish line. And we've never had any issues. I think they should have put a little diagram. It's a rough drawing, but I do put up a tent down there. The fire department will be notified if they want to go and inspect it, and also the building inspector will be on board.
Any questions from the council?
Okay, so just one, no, two, it's September 23rd, correct?
Yes, they put
Okay, so-
24th on here. It is the 23rd. Thank you.
It's the 23rd, so on the
Yep.
minutes, it should change? Okay, so that should be, and there's no vendors, right?
The only vendor is me. I have a food manager's license.
Okay.
And I do provide a cookout for my participants at the end.
Okay.
And we just have a raffle basket, but there's no business there selling items, and like giving us a percentage.
Right.
Everything's donated.
Okay,
All of the raffle baskets are all donated. So that's the only thing we sell is the raffle tickets for the raffle basket.
so but you also have you have a license, you said?
I have a food manager's license.
Okay, so is that in here?
It should have been in there. I dropped it off separately from the original request to get on, but it is in my overall packet with the clerk's office.
And there's no issue with it being at the schools or other, right?
Pardon?
Everything is all squared away, it's at the
No,
schools,
this is at
right?
Town Farm.
Oh, Town
This
Farm,
is at
so
Town
there's no
Farm.
issue with that?
No,
Okay.
no, I've already got permission from the Recreation Commission.
Okay.
Hard to believe, but I did.
Yeah, I think there's a
Well, we
little,
have every year, so we haven't had any problem. This is our 8th year.
okay,
Actually, ninth year.
okay.
It's actually ninth.
Yeah, it is actually the 9th year.
It's been a while, John.
Time flies. It's
Okay.
unbelievable.
So as long as everything is squared away with
Seems
the
like
health and the state, and health department, state?
Yeah,
reps?
my
Okay.
license is current. If they want to confirm that, anybody can go online. Anybody from the public or this
Okay.
board can go right onto the state, Rhode Island State
Okay,
website and see all my current licenses.
okay, thank you.
Chief, any issues?
Just nothing but accolades. It's been a good event for this whole 9 years, 8 years still. And rules and regulations definitely obeyed by this group, so we have no problem whatsoever. Thank you.
Yeah, we're big on asking our people to ride single file, especially when they see oncoming traffic, even if it's coming towards them, 'cause you can't always tell what's behind you. So, and it's not like we have 1,000 people on the road. We've probably got anywhere from 90 to 130 is probably the most we've ever had, spread across 3 different routes. So they are spread out. They only bunch up for the first couple of miles.
Very good, very good. Any other questions from the council?
Madam President, he also has provided an insurance certificate with the town, which is required if it is not a town function.
Right now. And now, I provided last year's copy of the insurance that we get every year. The town is listed at the way the clerk wants the insurance is filled out. I cannot purchase that insurance until 120 days prior to the event. You can't buy it that early. So I have to be within 120 days of the event, but as soon as we hit that timeline, my wife's a little anal. She gets right on that and gets the insurance.
I just want to make one comment. I just admire you and Teresa so much for keeping Megan's memory alive.
Oh.
I knew her personally. She was a wonderful little girl.
Thank you.
And I really admire you too for
Thanks,
keeping this
thanks.
going.
And we're appreciative of everything the citizens of Tiverton and the surrounding area have done for us when Megan was sick, and since supporting her foundation. And, geez, to date, we're well over $100,000 we've donated to organizations that help children fighting cancer.
I
So,
just want
thank you.
people to realize what a wonderful thing this is that you and Teresa are doing.
Thank you.
Do I have a motion?
Motion to
Second.
request a permit for a special event.
I'll second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? Unanimous. Good luck, John.
Thank you.
He's not going anywhere.
I'll turn
You're
around.
not going anywhere. C3,
Okay.
John Cadiro, Tiverton Youth Soccer, Soccer Rhode Island, request approval of special event for a soccer tournament June 3rd and 4th from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Town Farm. John,
Okay. This has become an annual event as well. This is in conjunction with Tiverton Youth Soccer and Soccer Rhode Island. They manage all the youth soccer in the state. They run the tournaments, they set up the schedules, they hire, they manage coaches, they manage all these small youth leagues around the state. So what we've been fortunate enough, some of Megan's coaches, God, this has got to be the 8th year for this too, I think, got together with some folks from TYS and went to Soccer Rhode Island, and we revived a soccer tournament that was an annual event in Tiverton when Megan played soccer. It used to be called the Chevy Fest, and it's a statewide festival, soccer festival, a little different than a tournament, for U8 and U10 division. Soccer Rhode Island does this because that's the last year you play soccer. Once you move up to U12, now you're in real tournaments where you're traveling not only in-state but out-of-state, and you're playing for real. It's not a participation trophy. Only the top 2 teams get a trophy. It's real tournaments. So they do this for this age group, and they use it to promote soccer and allow the recreational players to enter a tournament-like format through this festival. So what we do with this tournament is we've taken over the responsibility that TYS used to have in running the Chevy Fest. We went to Soccer Rhode Island, asked them if we could bring it back to Tiverton as a host city. And we do the same thing. We run a soccer tournament there. Soccer Rhode Island manages all the scheduling, signing up the teams, the insurance. And what we do locally is we just run the concession stand and have raffles. And what we do is we raise money. It's all volunteers. Everything's donated. We raise money for Megan's Memorial Scholarship, which is separate from her foundation. Her foundation helps hospitals and direct financial support to kids who are struggling and so forth. This is strictly a TYS account, actually, that the money is held for Megan's Memorial Scholarship. And we give that to Tiverton seniors who are going on to secondary education who happen to play soccer. And to date, we're well over $60,000 in scholarships we've given away. We gave $10,000 away alone in Megan's graduating class.
Wow.
So that's what we do, and it's the same deal. It's a lot of the same people that help me. It's all volunteers. I have the food manager's license. Another person also has a food manager's license, so there's 2 food managers there that day. And we sell grub, and we sell raffle tickets, and we collect money for scholarships.
Very good. Any questions from the council? Do I have a motion to approve the special event license for the soccer tournament June 3rd and 4th from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. at Town Farm?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor? Unanimous.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
C4, manufactured home elderly community license renewal, Country View Estates, continued from January 23rd, 2017. 4A, Attorney Raymond Holland, request for continuance, and 4B, Planning Board memorandum agreeing to temporary extension of license to July 31st, 2017. Hello, Mr. Holland.
Hi, good evening. Just to bring the council up to date, I have met with Mrs. Gill as late as this afternoon, and we have filed a plan hoping to resolve the issues that are outstanding. She's trying to set up a meeting with the planning board, people that account for this, Steve Baker, the town engineer, and also the ordinance says that the planning board has to approve it, but it also has to go to the building inspector, who's the zoning officer. So we're trying to get a meeting, and she had a very good idea that have it in the daytime here in the office as opposed to at a regular planning board meeting, because that, lots of times it's tough to get things done. So she said, we'll sit down there, we'll get it done, and we'll finish it up. So that's what we're waiting to do. We have when they blacktop the area up there, somebody made some mistakes. So that's all staked out, and we're waiting to do it, but we want the town engineer to say, okay, so we're all on the same page and we're not doing this. So it's well into the works, and I think it's not going to take long to straighten it out at this point.
Any questions from the council? Do I have a motion to continue the Country View Estates License renewal to July 31st, 2017. Do
So moved.
I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Thank you.
And D, appointments and resignations. Appointments, Historic Preservation Advisory Board. We have one vacancy, 3-year term to October 15th, 2020. We have a 1A Aldridge Cormier, 348 Sousa Road, new request for new appointment. Is he here tonight?
We have a round.
Thank you.
Good evening. Could you identify yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself and why you want this position?
Yes, my name's Aldrich Cormier. I'm from 348 Sousa Road, and I love history. And I wish it was my wife, because she's much more knowledgeable than I am, but just the places I've lived and the experience that I've had, and it's an important time. We don't have a planner, we don't have an administrator, and I think I can be an asset. So here I am.
Any questions from the council? Do you have any experience in historical preservation, as in restoring any historical homes or?
The Pond Hill School in Wellesley at the 100-mile marker on 6A is Nancy's cousin's pet project. And her grandma's cousin, who lived in Payne Hollow in Wellesley, worked at the Library of Congress for most of her life. So we've been blessed with seeking any money that's available from the Department of Interior, especially my wife. She's worked so many meetings, so many events at the Hyatt and at Cal's Restaurant in Portsmouth with the Rotarians, and she's got the opening of Carnegie Abbey, the opening of Newport National, the biggest beneficial one to Rhode Island, I would say, would be the Amgen opening in East Greenwich, where the picture of the table she set was all over the Providence Journal, and, you know, our friend Ron Makeley was there. Like I said, I wish my wife was here she could articulate the benefits of enhancing any public project or especially as hospitality. She was at one time considered to be well, actually her co-worker won the hospitality award one year. Being a lead server at the Newport Hyatt, she had so many wonderful memories, and of course they're given to me because she comes home from work, and you know, I ask her about Ted Turner and the meeting with Time Warner, and she says to me, well, he ate everything on his plate, so you know, he
That's
must be a
history.
good guy. That's, you know, but I'm here because my experience, life's experiences, and my son Joey is, you know, a legend in Tiverton, with baseball people, you know,
Yeah.
and academics, you know.
Have you, by any chance, have you attended the Historical Preservation Advisory Board meetings?
Ever since I brought that rock to the Massachusetts Historical Society, I brought it to the Historical Preservation. This was in our backyard. It's a Neolithic hand tool, over 5,000 years old.
Wow.
And it's, like I said, I'm an asset because of where I live. My experience. I lived at Sandy Point. I lived at the address 21 Chase Terraces. We come to Rhode Island. We rented 4.5 acres from Rudy Friesel, and our back border was the Bloody Creek. And of course, I had a German Shepherd, and we went back there, and there was a fox den, and we went back to tell Frank Chase, who owns the Stonewall stand right out in front of there, that the fox were back there in the fox den, my German Shepherd found, and he went on and on about the Revolutionary War and the
Madam President,
history of Tiverton.
that was my question. Has he been to any of the board meetings?
Yes, planning board.
No, I mean the Historical Preservation Board.
Like I said, that was my first one. I've been going
Okay.
steadily, and I still can vouch for, I try to contribute as much as I can with,
Very good.
especially Sousa Road, because the Hambley property is my backyard.
Oh, yeah.
The original Hambley Road
Yeah.
is my backyard, so, like I said, I owned a German Shepherd, so we would fox. I mean, he could find a fox den in a minute, so I've been back through all the Hawkins property, the former planner, I wish he was here, because we took that walk in the Hawkins property, and it was just exciting. It was just exciting for both of us.
Very good. Okay, do I have a motion? We can appoint, because there's only one.
Are we
There's
appointing
only one
tonight?
vacancy.
Are we appointing tonight?
You'd have to waive your requirement.
Has there been any other applicants, Nancy? No? This has been out for a while.
No, I don't have any.
Do I have a motion to waive the requirement?
You do.
2 weeks. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Do I have a motion to appoint Aldo Cormier to the Historical Preservation Advisory Board to a 3-year term expiring 10/15/2020?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor? Unanimous.
Welcome aboard.
Thank you very much. And
you.
I would like to let you all know that I'm going to be asking for your help.
Oh, you should have said that first. I feel like I've been had.
We reconsider.
Okay, Economic Development Commission, we have 4-year unexpired terms, 2 vacancies expiring 7/15/2018 and 2 expiring 7/15/2019. Again, this was continued from April 12th. Mark Pfeiffer is unavailable. We interviewed Louis Viola. We interviewed Barbara Pelletier, and we had a request from the audience to interview a Mr. Van Hoff. Is it the council's wish to interview Mr. Van Hoff this evening?
I make a motion to interview Mr. Van Hoff.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor? Thank you. Mr. Van Hoff, if you come up and tell us who you are and why you would like, why you're applying for this position.
My name's Martin Van Hoff. I live on 170 Boulder Marsh. Renee called me a little while ago and asked if I could help on the Economic Development Commission. My initial thought is that I'm not an economist, so I'm not so sure how qualified I am in that regard, but I have managed a business in Portsmouth for several decades, and at least understand how a business interacts with the town. And of course, we interacted with Portsmouth, and so I may be able to provide some insight into how a business would like to see a town interact with them. And but I also have observed the efforts of past members of the commission in my attendance to open space meetings. We had folks there all the time understanding what we were doing so as to be able to do their job in their commission better. So I'm not suggesting that I'm going to be an improvement or not, but I would be willing to help, and if you'd like, then I would join the commission.
Any questions from the council?
What business did you run in Portsmouth?
Island Garden Shop.
Good. In Hoff's Nursery, right?
Right.
Yes, okay.
Yeah, that too. Well,
Wow.
but most of my experience was in retail, so as a teenager, I worked in the nursery mostly, but
Very good. Do I have a motion to continue this item to the next meeting so that we can continue with the interview of Martin Pfeiffer?
So moved.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor? Unanimous.
Thank you,
Thank
Mr.
you.
Mayor.
you're welcome.
That way you don't have to come back again. Okay.
All guys are good.
E, unfinished business, none. F, financial business. F1, Councilor DiMederos, approval of transfers for trash collection. And
Like I said before, I met with Matt last week and talked about how we could find the money for trash. He did talk to Denise, and this is their 3 recommendations. Denise did sit with Matt and look at this and said that she did approve of these transfers also, just, not that she has to, but to me it means a lot. So these are the 3 transfers. And as I said before, we're going to work in the next 2 weeks to find other transfers and balance the budget. So I would like to make a motion to transfer from the contingency fund, account number 10206890 to account 5506457, contracted service for trash, $14,000. Account 55406451, snow removal, to 55006457, contracted trash, to the sum of $19,700. Account number 55406795, drainage, to 55006457, trash, for the sum of $11,300, totaling $45,000.
motion's been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? Unanimous.
Thank you.
Next item, G1, new business. Dr. Thomas Ramantowski, Chair of the Conservation Commission, requests council authorization to establish a committee to develop an updated version of the town's on-site wastewater management OWM ordinance.
Good evening.
Mr. Ramantowski?
Yeah. The basis of this is that our existing on-site wastewater management ordinance, the one that controls septic systems, cesspools, things like that, it's not related to sewers. These are the on-site ones. It's out of date. You may recall, this is the ordinance that established the inspections that people have been going through and things like that. Turns out we haven't even fulfilled what's in that ordinance, even though the dates are all passed. We've only inspected portions of the town. When I say we, I mean the town. So there's questions about whether we should be going back to the sensitive areas like the watershed areas and doing them for a second time, which is what this ordinance really contemplated, but then there are areas of town that haven't even been inspected once. So there's some dispute there as to what we should be doing. It also references the old wastewater management commission all throughout, which we know doesn't exist anymore. There's a wastewater management district that does this on behalf of the town. And then finally, there are sections of it that are in conflict with existing state laws now. It's old enough that there have been some changes from the state. Cesspools is a good example, that our regulations say that you can keep your cesspool if it's in good shape, whatever that means, if you sell the property to someone else, whereas now the state says, it doesn't matter what state it's in, it has to be replaced within a year if that property changes hands. There may be other things like that in there too. So what we're asking is for your blessing to put together a group similar to the one that drafted the original on-site wastewater management ordinance. Conservation people were on that. The original wastewater management people, which are now the wastewater district, and of course the town's wastewater superintendent would all be involved. I've talked to all of them, plus our commission. We're willing to take this on as a group and then come back to you at some point with the language that we've come up with for your perusal and ultimately your approval to get us up to date here. And we just want to let you know that we're contemplating this and would like to have your blessings to go forward.
Yeah, I think there's a cesspool act, 2014.
2015, yeah.
2014,
Yeah.
2015, that made some changes. Now, would this be a committee set up by the town council, or would it be a subcommittee of the conservation?
I'd actually prefer in this instance that it be a subcommittee of the Conservation Commission. I'll tell you why. Dr. Ramatowski
Sure.
is correct in everything that he said. But I view these as not only the legalities and the fact that it has to conform to state law, but it's also site-specific. And that input is absolutely necessary to construct an appropriate ordinance. So I think it's appropriate to have a subcommittee of the Conservation Commission, and then the Conservation Commission make a recommendation as to the ordinance.
Sure.
And to get help from any other town officials that you need, perhaps, of course, solicitor, but also a town engineer on this. And he's correct, too. You're a bit late on this one.
Yeah.
Madam President,
Yes, Mr. LeBeau?
I have a couple of issues with this.
Yes.
I went over it today. With the short notice, I didn't get to look up any of the old ordinance, what the conservation everybody wants to change. I'm under the impression that the council is the policymaker. It's okay for these guys to design a policy, but we need to approve policies. We can't just let everybody go out and approve policies. And
This is for...
What I'm suggesting is that they do the...
Do the work.
We'll do the work for you and bring it back to you,
And then
so
bring
you'll
it to
be
the
able
town
to approve
council.
it or disapprove it or make changes, whatever you want to do.
But on a short notice, like, I got this Saturday, whenever day this came in.
Well, it was put in on 17th. so-
Yeah, well, I didn't get it until a few days ago, and I didn't have a chance to go through ordinances or anything, so I'm not comfortable even putting a vote. I'd like to put it off for 2 weeks. 2 more weeks is not going to kill you, and then we'll
No.
make a vote on it at that point, so we can, and then the other 2 council members aren't here, because it's kind of an important thing to be rewriting a policy. I'd like
Well,
everybody
again,
involved.
A group like this wrote the original one and then presented it to your group.
Yep.
And there was input from the council, and then, they approved it, they suggested changes. It's pretty straightforward, I think, when we do things like this. We don't have the power to approve anything. It has to go to you. This is under your jurisdiction for final approval and that type of thing. We're just trying to get the language set for you so you can look at it, but if you want to change it, that's up to you.
I don't want to change anything. I want to just have enough time to look at what's going on, that's all. That's all I'm asking.
Okay, just a question for you, Randy. So it looks like all they want to do is establish a committee. Is that problematic for you?
Well, it's just, so long as they're not coming up, so long as these other, and nothing against you or any of the other,
Right, I'm just looking at the
Committees.
wording.
right, I just,
We don't know, we need to change it. We have to look at it, we have to compare what's gone on, what the changes are from the state, and work out some kind of a plan for a new schedule for the inspections.
I don't, I don't, if you want to delay it, I mean, that's an opinion, but what I'm looking at this is that if they're just establishing a committee, that would give you plenty of time to read this stuff, right? Because they've got to establish, well, you know how long it took to establish this
Pretty-
casino, I think that'll be a bit shorter, but, but anyhow, I'm just saying it doesn't stop you from reading the stuff over and getting you more prepared.
Right, so long as the last word,
It's it is the council.
No changes can be made unless you approve it, whether they're changes positive or negative, whatever you want to do, it's up to
They're
you.
gonna review
Right.
everything.
Essentially, what you're going to be getting from the
Changes.
Conservation Commission is a report with some suggested recommendations
Right.
to the existing ordinance.
And we'll certainly run it past legal to make sure the wording's right.
Yep.
But are you good?
Yeah, I'm good.
I just had a question. Does this have anything to do with this letter that we got?
Yeah.
Okay.
A lot to do with that letter.
Okay, because this was just put in the package for your information?
Tom, it's
So
the
you see-
letter that was sent to the staff, well, a bunch of people, about having their septic.
Right. I think that the wastewater management district is trying to go back and
Right, but like you said, they're
Right.
going back to Stafford
Right.
Pond area, which already got,
but the original
wasn't-
ordinance does anticipate there would be re-inspections
Right.
under certain timeframes. So I think, again, they're looking for direction. Do we do the rest of town that's never been looked at?
Right.
Or do we go back to these areas? Because we know if we have a problem there, it's going to affect a lot of people in town.
I think it's a
So-
great idea.
So this letter is going to be part of what they're
Well, it'll
looking
be
at?
what they're looking at.
Correct, but
Yeah.
I have to tell you, I'm sorry,
No, it's
No.
all
the
right,
ordinance has to be amended,
right, before anything's done.
yes.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, okay, that's fine, but this just kind of like flew into one of all these papers, and it was like, what is this about?
This
So
ordinance authorizes letters like that to go out to
Okay.
homeowners to say, you either have to inspect it or re-inspect
Right,
it.
so get the
Correct.
ordinance all
Well,
squared up and cleaned up, and that follows
Right.
with your letter.
It might change the order, for example, we might
Yeah.
decide, we do want to do the places in town that, and of course, that's your final decision, but the
Mm-hmm.
places that have never been done yet. Or you might say, go and do the ones that are the most dangerous if there is,
Mm-hmm.
it is an issue.
Okay.
So, Tony, do we actually have to authorize them to do this, or can they just establish a committee on their own?
You do, because it's an ordinance, and this is going to be a step one to an enactment of an ordinance. I do think you need to take a vote on this to authorize the Conservation Committee to establish this subcommittee and to make a report to the town council as to suggested changes for the ordinance.
That's my motion.
Second.
Can you repeat that motion?
Authorize
The
the
conservation.
Conservation Commission to establish a committee to report back to the town council with suggested changes to this ordinance.
Is that all right with you? Okay.
That's what we pay them then
All right
for.
with you?
no, can't we put it off for 2 weeks?
Don't get started, he's doing your work.
John?
Who's second?
Second.
Okay, motion's been made and second. All those in favor? Opposed? 4 in favor of 1 opposed, Ms. LeBeau. G2, Town Administrator requests authorization to advertise for Town Planner Administrative Officer. All right, we have this advert for the Town Planner / Administrative Officer. I know we've sent it to Personnel, and we sent it to Planning to review. From the Planning Board, we have a couple additions and 1 deletion from the document for page 2, where it has assist the building zoning official in matters of zoning. It's about halfway down the page under planner duties, planner position duties.
That one's gonna come out, you said? It's gonna be stricken out? Is that what you said?
That's a suggestion.
It's a suggestion, and I turned to my solicitor to ask a planner is supposed to know zoning and is supposed to assist the building and zoning official in matters of zoning. Is that correct?
There is, and there are, I can tell you that there are instances when the zoning official has to speak with the town planner, particularly when the zoning questions that come up refer back to how a subdivision was approved, when it was approved, those types of issues. I understand that it can be seen as vague, but I think it's important to let who's ever applying for this know that they will be expected to be conversant with the Tiverton zoning ordinance, and from time to time assist the building official if he needs help.
So should this mean, should we add to this, like zoning ordinances / land and development and subdivision regulations? To make it more specific?
Yes.
All right, assist the building zoning official in matters of zoning ordinances and land development and subdivision regulations.
Correct.
Okay, is that one amendment to the planner position duties? And then moving on to, under the administrative officer general duties, we have a suggestion to add, to make it more specific, these two bullet items: attend all planning board meetings and draft minutes in a timely manner, and draft planning board decisions on subdivision and land development applications for planning board approval and recording.
Both of those are appropriate.
Very good. Are there any other changes recommended by the council?
I just have.
You do?
The AICP, it says is desired. Okay, I want to know what the difference between desired and preferred is, because I don't want it to be so strict that if they don't have the AICP, we don't even look at this applicant, because that's what the personnel does, and the personnel board does, and they're very good at following what we say. Is desired, does that limit us, or should we put preferred?
On a scale,
Yeah, I just have a hard time with that desired. I've never,
AICP required is at the top.
okay.
Below that is desired, and then below that is preferred. Desire actually beats out preferred.
So
However, it's not a prerequisite. The only thing that, as I took a look at this, and I hesitate on it, but sometimes what other communities have done is said, if you don't have your AICP when you apply, that it'll be on the recommendation that it will be obtained
That's what I
by
was
some
gonna
type
ask.
of a set date.
It takes a while to get it though, and it's not
Yes, it
something
does.
you can get in a month, so.
That's correct.
But that would be discussed at time of employment and see if the person is willing to get this.
Correct,
And give them a
yes.
year or whatever is fair.
Yes.
So preferred would be a little looser than desired. I just don't want the planning board to look at someone and say they're not AICP and throw away that, because as we know in the past, we've had people doing this job that eventually got their certificate and they're very good at their job. So if we find somebody that we think would be good and we interview them and say, would you be willing to get this in a year, then we could employ them. I just don't want to be that strict where these applicants won't even be looked at. So I would like if we put preferred there instead of desired. Because you said in a scale of 3, it's the lowest.
Yes.
Okay. If that's all right with everybody. And then,
Wait a minute, you want to change, you changed it to what?
Preferred.
Preferred.
Instead of desired.
It's also in the advert.
all right,
So on the first page,
yeah, it would be preferred.
we'll have to change that to preferred. So on the qualifications page as well as the advert. Okay, next question?
My next thing is, I think it's really important that a planner that we hire, has some experience in Rhode Island. And I don't know if we could put something that Rhode Island experience preferred.
You could, that is something that you can put in. You
Well,
can-
it's just, through my experience in the last 3 years, I've learned that it's very important that the planner knows the Rhode Island state law, and has some experience in planning in Rhode Island. And I think if we put preferred, maybe, it would kind of get the planning board to home in on that, because, without insulting anybody, I just think that knowing the Rhode Island laws, working in the system is so important to make us successful.
But Denise, just a question, was, on that first, in the qualifications, were all of those listed? All the Rhode Island things listed?
It was
In the
listed.
last time?
It was listed, but it doesn't say that they worked in Rhode Island being a planner.
Right.
And I think if we put, like, you could be familiar with Rhode Island laws and think you know them, but unless you actually have had experience with them,
Okay.
you don't really know them.
But you're
So-
suggesting the same thing, preferred, not
I
desired
suggest
or
that we put in the
required?
description, and like Joan said, it would have to be over here too.
Okay.
That experience with Rhode Island planning or whatever wording we want to use is preferred.
Okay.
Tony, what do you suggest we put?
Definitely preferred, because, on page 1, you do have those bullet points
Yeah.
stating like the Rhode Island Open Meetings Act, APRA, land development regulations for Rhode Island, working knowledge of RI Title 46. I should also put Title 45 in there, too.
Okay.
And Tiverton zoning code and Tiverton land development, so.
I just think it's important we put that in the ad, that we are looking for someone who's actually worked in Rhode Island as a planner. If we don't get one, that's fine, but if we put something like preferred there, I think it'd be useful right now.
Now, what did you say, Title 40, but
45.
Title 45.
not 46?
And
46 is okay, but you really need Title 45, because that's where the Enabling Act is for the subdivision regulations, as well as zoning and the Comprehensive Plan Act.
Isn't
Title
that
46
it?
is water resources.
Isn't it the
Was
one
it
above it?
45? No, I was going to
I
say
didn't
the one
see
below
that.
it.
The one above it?
45 too. 22?
45-22?
Yeah. Actually, you need 45, 22, 23, and 24. Sorry.
Why does he know this?
so we can just change that line. to
Correct, yes.
23 and 24.
Sorry.
All right. We'll update that little guy. And then if you want, on the third paragraph down, next page. Let's do the next page. It says, at least 5 years of progressive, responsible experience in planning is required. Rhode Island is preferred.
Yes,
Rhode Island experience
it's preferred. And I
is
think,
preferred.
do you agree, Stu, that I think that, yeah.
Absolutely, it will be very helpful.
All right, so let's see, same thing on the front, progressive is required, we're in Rhode Island, experience is preferred.
And it doesn't mean that anyone that doesn't have it will be knocked off, but at least it's something that we are saying is one of our priorities.
Yep, I agree. Ms. Ryan?
Okay, on the first bullet on the planner, no, sorry, the second bullet. So I put for both of these administrative and officer, I like, somebody had suggested putting in the primary function, and I like that idea to make sure it's clear, the primary function. So its primary function is to aid and assist the planning board to, and here's where it changes, to successfully execute the short and long-term planning goals identified in the comprehensive community plan and its revision. So it's crossing off the formulation and implementation and putting in instead specifying to successfully execute short and long-term planning goals identified in comprehensive community plan. So it, and again, it's making sure the focus is on the comprehensive community plan and also short and long-term goals. Is that a problem?
No, it's not.
Okay. Is that a problem with the planning board? Can I ask the planning board? Is it okay to ask the planning board? 'Cause I
Yes,
got it
Stu will
from
give you a
them,
nod.
so.
Stu, is that all right?
Is that okay?
I
guess so. Okay. All right.
Go ahead.
Oh, yes.
So can you
So
just
say it
repeat
again?
that?
Okay, so on the it's the second bullet. And it's, the primary function is to aid and assist the planning board to success, and this is the new part, to successfully execute the short and long-term planning goals identified in the comprehensive community plan and its revisions. So I'm just crossing off with the formulation and implementation and making it more specific, short and long-term goals. Okay? All right, keep going?
Yep.
On the second, on the the AO, general duties. Again, it's some of the feedback that I've gotten from the planning board, but it's also in reference to, if you remember the workshop that we had with them, they really kept stressing the AO position, and please, if you have an objection, let me know. But after that first paragraph, where it, let's see, as well as the second line, as well as the land development and subdivision regulations of the town, period. And then insert, the AO carries out the day-to-day processes and policies of the planning board. And again, that's just pinpointing because of some of the problems we've had. And also listening to what you had said earlier, Randy. Oh, say it again? All right. So before the AO's duties are as follows, insert, the AO carries out the day-to-day processes and policies of the planning board. So I'm again referring to what you had mentioned, Randy, that it sounds like the very first thing that the AO does is they're advising applicants of the submission. That's as soon as you walk in the office, they start telling you what you need to do. And if that's the case, and that's what they want to do as the focus, then, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. The seventh bullet is shall advise applicants of submission requirements and procedures for review and approval. I would put that way up at the very beginning. And put advises applicants of submission requirements and procedures for review and approval, because it sounds like that's the first thing that happens. So rather than that one, and then, so bear with me, and then you can just rip it apart if you want. So that would be the first bullet. The second bullet would be the two below that. Certifies application as complete or not within required period from date of submission. That whole thing, I didn't change the wording. All I'm doing is putting it up above to give it more focus, and really, that's what they need to do. And if you've got if you've got a required period and you're starting the clock, you need to know that pretty quick. So I would put that bullet as a second bullet, and then the next two bullets would be 3 and 4. So monitors the status of all ongoing development, and then determines eligibility of projects within the plan development park for expedited review. I would just move those things up to give them more prominence, because what you've got as the first bullet serves as the chair of the technical review committee. And I think that should go down, because I think the more important thing is somebody walks in the door, they've got an idea, they want to know what they can do and how to do it. And so it's like you're laying everything out to them, and then you're saying, oh, by the way, here's a date, you have to have this done. And it also puts it on the planning board as well. You have to put this done, you have to have this date completed by a certain time. So everybody's on board with that. So that's just a matter, that was just a matter of cleaning it up, or refocusing.
Yeah, the last one is basically the industrial park.
Yeah, as I was reading that, I thought, what is that doing there?
Well,
So you mean so that could stay down. Okay?
Yeah, I get a lot of arrows,
Huh?
but do you have that, Nancy?
Yes.
Okay.
So, but did you get what Joan just said? Yeah, I was reading it, I was like, ooh.
Yep.
Okay? So it's just moving, then the 3 bullets go up front, And that's where there's more focus.
Now, the 2 ads that we added to this, did you consider that in the attend
sorry.
planning board meetings and draft planning board decisions? The 2 we added?
Oh, yeah. Does that need to be put in the advertisement?
No, did you want to bring that up in the list?
Oh, yeah, if you want. I was less concerned about that than more concerned with, you're actually talking to a consumer. But
Wouldn't that be the AO?
Rather, that's the AO.
that was the AO.
Just asking because
All right.
these draft planning board decisions is very important.
Well, move it up.
Just saying.
Just saying.
Just saying. Can you make that number 4?
Sure. Which one?
The draft planning board
Yeah, yeah.
decisions on,
Okay, so that's number 4. Okay.
because that gets recorded and
Mhm. Yeah, oh,
needs
yes.
to be
Yeah, yeah.
timely,
Yeah.
as well as maybe number 5, attend planning board meetings.
Planning board meetings
I put those up there as,
as well.
Okay.
because that's the primary focus. Everybody agree with that? We good? Any other changes? All set? Do I have a motion to approve the town planner advertisement as amended?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? And just so you know, the advertisement states that it's going out and returns are due May 19th.
Where do you want that advertised? We can put it in the planner.
There was, yeah.
Stuff like that. But do you want it in any newspaper?
What do you suggest, Nance?
Recommend
Yeah.
the journal, yes.
I agree.
And then any trade.
Right, there was one person who mentioned that they did see it in a trade journal. So that is May 19th enough time for you to get that in place?
If not, and I have to change the date, I'll just get back to council.
Okay,
Nancy,
Because with these changes, I won't get it out in the morning.
okay.
one of the members of the Personnel Board had suggested that Monster something is not particularly good.
Right.
Is that off your list, or-
I was just going to ask about that. Thank you.
Okay.
Stu?
If you're talking about where to advertise, I would strongly suggest the Rhode Island chapter of the American Planning Association, and the person to contact there would be Caitlin Greeley. She is the volunteer secretary, and she'll be happy to run that ad for free, and you'll get a good response from that, I think.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stu. Excellent idea. All set? Thank you. Next item, G3, Joan Shabbat, appointment of interim town administrator. Do we have anybody who wants to take the job? Do
I nominate Nancy Mello.
Second.
I have any other nominations?
What'd you do to her, Nancy?
Nancy, you've done this before. You've done an excellent job, and hopefully it won't be forever. We're really swiftly moving on this. It'd be very, hopefully.
I do the same contract I had the last time, reducing the cost.
And we will all help you. Like I told you, I'm available 1 day a week, all day, if you needed help getting stuff done. So, I'm sure
Yeah, no Thursday.
Randy on Thursdays.
I'm sure everybody.
I
Thursdays
can,
out.
yeah, I can help.
Everybody here has an expertise that they could help you with, so I'm sure we could all help.
So your agreement if Joan signs the contract, because I have to have something written and that says.
Okay, so the motion is to appoint Nancy Mello as interim town administrator and authorizes the town council president to review and sign a contract with Nancy Mello for that interim appointment.
Yes, I can tell you, I've already reviewed it. It's just a few sentences.
Very good.
And sentence is the appropriate word here, because you're sentencing her.
Ooh, that was below the belt.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Congratulations, Nancy.
And happy anniversary.
Well, that's the anniversary present?
That's our anniversary present to you. Now, I don't know what Steve will say.
It's her wedding anniversary tonight, guys, and she's sacrificing it and spending the time with us.
And we do appreciate that. Next item is bids and requests for proposals. H1, Town Administrator. Request approval for award of bid for contract for specified recreational facility and turf management services to McGue. Turf Management, Inc., 3805 Main Road, Tiverton. I believe we have a current contract with this firm. Any questions from the council?
Just that he's done an outstanding job for the years we've had him, so.
Very good. Do I have a motion?
Motion to appoint McGeo's Turf Management to is it a 2-year contract?
Good question.
I think it's
Doesn't-
one.
No.
No, I think
Was
it's
it was a
2 or 3.
two-year annual renewal? Contract length, May 1st.
This will go to December 31st,
Oh,
2019.
2019, yeah, 2 year.
2019, yeah,
Make a motion, we
yeah.
award the contract to McGeo Turf Management for a 2-year contract to expire in 2019.
And does that go with the option for 2-year, 1-year annual renewal
Yes.
with the required approval for each extension by the town council?
Right. But
I have a motion. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Unanimous.
Thank you.
No, Bill, thank you.
thank you.
Believe me.
Does it outstanding
Very
job.
good. H2, Stu Hardy.
His niece was not there for the vote, just to let you know.
So we have 4 in favor, 1 absent.
What's that? Oh, it's still unanimous, she left the table.
Okay. Okay.
H2, Stu Hardy, Chair Planning Board, request award of professional service contract to Allison Ring, Principal, AB Planning and Mapping, to finalize 2016 draft comprehensive community plan using Planning Board budgeted funds for payment estimated at $8,500. Stu? Come on down.
We actually, the town administrator and I actually met with Allison Ring. The planning board had approved her unanimously. We had 4 applicants. They were all good people. They had all done work on comprehensive community plans throughout the state. But Allison had really outstanding qualification. She has done recent work in Little Compton, Middletown, one other town I can't quite remember. When I talked to statewide planning, Kevin Nelson, who was the head of the comprehensive community planning portion of statewide planning, he knew her well, and he said you couldn't have made a better decision. So that is our recommendation, and she also came in well within budget. So we're hoping that, in fact, she's already working. So I hope that the council will endorse. I didn't realize we would have to go through this process. I was not told that by our town administrator. I thought it was a done deal, but your blessing is always more than welcome. And I think that we can get this done under budget and within the time schedule that we outlined to her, which is just to be prudent to get it done by the end of the fiscal year.
Very good. Do I have a motion to award the professional service contract to Allison Ring of AB Planning and Mapping to finalize the 2016 draft comprehensive community plan?
Yes.
Second.
Second. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor?
This is
Unanimous.
Randy's
Thank
first
you.
motion, I want to say. This was your first motion ever.
Thank you, Stu.
It was a yes. Take
Town
note, it was
administrator
planned.
announcements.
Doesn't have time.
Do I have any town council announcements?
Yes.
Yes.
Can we start
Christine? go.
Christine?
Nope, lady
And then
before.
Joe, and I think Denise?
Okay, so just to let people know that a couple of weeks ago, we had a bike path meeting to see about putting a bike path up in northern Tiverton. So we're having another meeting this Wednesday from 1 to 3:30 at the Tiverton Library. Anybody is welcome if you're interested. And the other thing I wanted to announce was that the Casino Subcommittee will have their first meeting on May 1st, Monday, 7 p.m. in Town Hall. That is it.
Very good.
Miracles.
We're not there yet, it's not.
Yeah, Madam President, I just wanted to announce that there have been people calling about lifeguard positions for the beaches, and I just wanted to find out from the clerk if they could just send a letter stating that they worked last year and they are interested, if someone could mail them an application. Because recreation has not,
Call, we'll send it out.
okay, because,
It was in the newspaper, it was in the Sky Times.
okay. So
They can call, we'll send them out. It's on the town website.
The application is on the town website.
I will let them know that. Thank you.
Denise?
The Personnel Board has given us 4 recommendations for town administrator. I think in light that a lot of the town councilors are going away starting the first week of May, I'd like to expedite this as quickly as possible. My thought is Saturday, Saturday the 29th. I would be willing to call the candidates and set up interviews. I was thinking we start our meeting at 9. We start our first interview at 9:15 and go on from 9:15, 10:15, 11:15, and 12:15. And then Mandy can order pizza, and then we can talk about who we want. I know I just think it's really important that we do this rather quickly. And I've talked to Joan, I'm more than willing to, I have the day off tomorrow, so I'll call each candidate. I'll see if I line it up. I know that, I think Trish is available, and I would assume John would be. If anything changes, then we can change it accordingly.
Should we have an alternate date in case some of the candidates can't make it on Saturday?
Yeah, well, I'm going to really urge them to make it, but for the candidates that I saw are very eager to find out whether or not they have their job, and they seem to be very willing to take the time to do this. So I'm hoping, you're right, Joe, maybe we should have an alternate, but
Could you maybe email John and Trish to see if they can do it?
a matter of fact, Mrs. Hilton just
Said she could do it.
she just texted me from Antigua, because she does that from time to time, so I'll get back to her tonight.
But John also, maybe?
He's in Spain, so I'm not quite, when's he coming back?
Comes back tomorrow, Tuesday.
All right, I'll call him tomorrow and
Okay.
make sure. I'm sure they'll make the time.
Yeah, I think so.
I just think they will. Yeah, I would like to set all this up
You just want to
tomorrow
get
when I
it
have
done
time.
fast.
I want to give them enough notice.
And I think,
Yeah.
I think Saturday would be better than coming at night after working all day, and that'll be,
Yeah.
I think it'd just be a lot easier if
And
we
I'm
did
just thinking,
it on a
get it
Saturday.
done, and then we have a week and a half and maybe be able to appoint them by our next meeting.
That'd be awesome.
You know,
Them.
check out one. But check
You have
out
to do
record-
background
We have
checks.
to do all of that, but I'm hoping that maybe we could do that or have a special meeting
Yeah.
in the interim.
So our next meeting where we could, if we interview them on the 29th, then it would be on the May 8th agenda for appointment, so long as
Yep.
all the background checks are completed by then. So the earlier we get that done, the better.
Some of you are away, though, for that May 8th, right?
No,
The
no.
9th. I leave the 9th.
And I leave the
perfect.
10th, that's why we did that on purpose,
Yes.
yeah,
So we have to do it on the 8th.
yeah.
No, I thought this was a wonderful day, but I was watching the news, and it's going to be 76 degrees on Saturday, but we just have to give that up.
We'll have it outside, we'll be an open meeting.
Let's reconsider.
Oh, is that an open meeting?
Oh, yes, it is an open meeting, right? Last time it was.
The final
It's a
is
finalist.
This is the final.
Final.
This is the final.
This is the finals, correct? Yes, it's
Yes.
open.
But then when we go into executive to talk about it, and then we come out and announce who we appoint.
Because you're discussing if it's
Yeah.
a discussion of personnel, then it can be in executive session, but the interviews are not that.
So we'll have to have an open meeting and an executive on this agenda.
Right, that's the 29th?
Yeah, on Saturday.
April the 29th. And when you do call, you have to let them know that
I just
by
texted John.
saying, yes, they agree to
Correct,
this
yes.
final interview, that it will be an
Everything that's going
open
on, so forget
session and it will be open to the public.
You're exactly correct.
Do we have to,
It's
are we
8:30 in the
required
morning.
to have it in open? Like, suppose one of them said, no, I don't want it in open. They don't have that option, do they?
No, I don't.
Yeah.
It's just, you got, it's
It's
the Open
just-
Meetings Act.
Yeah.
Right, but you
Yeah.
have to let them know that in case they say, oh, wait a minute, I
Yeah.
don't want it, I don't want it. because
Yes.
I don't want to
Yes,
be in open session.
yes,
Well, then that would eliminate them, right?
Yep,
Exactly.
yes.
yep, but you got to give them that option.
Right,
They have to know that
yep.
as soon as they come in
Now
on
we're
that day.
serious.
Well,
actually,
their
you would
current
tell 'em.
employer might,
You
I
would,
will,
yeah.
I'll do it tomorrow.
No, but I mean, you would tell them that it's an open meeting. They probably already know that.
I'm gonna come in at 9 o'clock and get it over with tomorrow.
I texted John, he should get back to me.
Okay.
Before the end of the night, make sure he can make it Saturday.
All right, and I text Trish too.
But it's 2:30.
It's 2:30. We'll get over it.
hopefully we'll be out of this meeting before he gives you a response.
That's right.
All right, thank you, everyone. Do we need we don't need any motion, right?
No, this was just scheduling and planning out our next steps. Very good, thank you, Denise. Anyone else? Town solicitor announcements. You actually have some.
I do, yes. On the first one, I'm actually going to, it's down for a discussion and action. I have to tell you that in our representation of the zoning board, it's apparent that there's an ambiguity between the two sections with, I've listed section, it's Article 4, Section 1. It appears as though it allows accessory structures in the side and front yards of a property. But Article 4, Section 3, it appears that the only accessory structures that can be had on residential properties is in the rear yard. And I have to tell you that I'm surprised at how passionate people get over this provision and the fact that there's an ambiguity, to the point where I think that even though we're reviewing all our ordinances and everything else, this should be handled sooner rather than later, because it's creating issues for the board and issues for your residential landowners. So I have in the memorandum two things, because this is a straight policy consideration. Do you think it's appropriate to have accessory structures in the front and the side yard? Or do you think they should just be in the rear yard? So I have two different proposals. And the question is which way do you want to go? If you think that it's something that is appropriate to have an accessory structure in the front yard, that's option one. Option two is you can only have them in the backyard. So what I'm asking for tonight, at least, is to have, to resolve this issue, send this memorandum with the proposed ordinances to the planning board so that they can review and advise you, and perhaps the zoning ordinance can be amended to clear up this ambiguity.
I agree. I have heard from the zoning board, and this is a hot ticket item for them.
I gotta tell you.
It causes a lot of angst with the landowners in town when they want to, this is a shed, and where they can
Yes.
put it on their property.
Exactly.
So it gets, and they have to, depending on which one you believe, you have to go before zoning to get an okay to put it in your side of your house.
And
which
the
is-
question for the board is which provision do you take a look at? There's ambiguities. This will clear it up either way. But it's a policy consideration.
Okay, so we need a motion on this to send this accessory structures document to the planning board for review and comment?
Correct,
And,
yes.
Decision back to the council.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Unanimous. Very good. This will go a way to alleviate a lot of costliness for residents who have had to go to zoning to get clarification. It's costly to do that.
Correct.
Thank you.
The next item is the Twin River indemnification agreement. And this involves the road abandonments that we saw. There were some issues involved. Twin River, in the course of that, agreed that they would indemnify the town if there was any lawsuits that sprang from the town council action on this. I wanted you to know that the indemnification agreement has been signed. It covers the town for any damages that are incurred, as well as legal costs, if there are any lawsuits arising from that action. I've reviewed it. It covers just about any circumstance that we had, and I want you to know that that's in place. That was one of the conditions you had for the vote.
So that means all the conditions are complete for the road abandonment for the portion of Sixth Broadway and the other two, Weaver and...
Yeah, there's some other things that they need to do to complete, the applicant, Twin River, needs to do to complete that, but that's not something that requires town action, except the supervision on the clerk's part.
Very good. Very good, thank you. Anything else?
No.
Town clerk items and announcements.
Well, I'm keeping this on the agenda each meeting until the FTR and the charter review. On the FTR, I just want to remind people, May 4th will be the financial town hearing. It is held at the middle school at 7 o'clock. The Board of Canvass is in the process of certifying petitions and resolutions. They had a meeting today at 3, but it is continued to 3:30 tomorrow. On the special election for the Charter Review Commission, the declarations for anybody wishing to run for Charter Review members are available now. You can pick them up. It requires 2 witnesses, and they have to be returned to the clerk's office on May 4th or 5th only. As long as they are witnessed and filled out, you don't have to be the person to return it. Someone else can return it for you. That election isn't until July 18th, but because it's a Title 17, the state, we have to keep up with the pace of how they need that done. That's all I have to say on it.
Okay, I don't know if he's here, but we have
Yes.
B1, public hearings and presentations. We have, B1 is John S. Vikovich, Portsmouth, Rhode Island, blue roadwork signs installed on state roads in Tiverton, request approval of resolution.
Thank you, Madam President. First of all, happy anniversary, Nancy Mello, and thank you, Nancy Mello. Something else that I want to say that Nancy and I will remember is when the Department of Transportation and the Turnpike and Bridge Authority decided that they wanted to toll Tiverton and Portsmouth. Nancy was up at the State House with us, and I'm very happy to say that we all know what happened to that toll. $4.3 million wasted, but it's gone. I come tonight, I just left the Portsmouth Town Council. I'm very proud that the Portsmouth Town Council has endorsed this resolution 7-0 to send to the Rhode Island Department of Transportation. Portsmouth has 16 roadwork signs. I don't know what Tiverton has. My count was 12. It could be more. The point that I'm making is that the state of Rhode Island has decided to just come into Portsmouth, Middletown, Warren, Bristol, Tiverton, and just put up these signs, and I have to ask the town council, what is coming soon, fall of 2017? What does that do for us? Nothing. Completed, take the sign down if it's completed. On November 22nd, I filed an access to public records request with the Department of Transportation. I requested the cost of the signs, I requested the locations of the signs, I requested the future sign locations, and I requested the funding source, what was funding it. I was denied on everything but the current signs as of October 28th, 2016. There are 156 of them installed statewide. I appealed to the director on December 14th. He denied on December 30th. I appealed to the Rhode Island Attorney General, and the Attorney General has taken the appeal, and we're waiting for the Attorney General to come back with, that they should have to give me. They made 3 statements. On September 28th in the Providence Journal, on December 29th in the Portsmouth Times, and on January 4th on the Newport Daily News. Charles St. Martin, a spokesman for the Department of Transportation, said they're $135 each. If you want to believe that they're $135 each, we have a bridge that I could sell you tonight, because they're not $135 each. Our research says they're in the amount of $700 each. There are 200 of them. It's a big waste of our gas tax money. They've spent the money. The signs are up. They're ugly. I'm very proud of Portsmouth. I'm very proud of Tiverton, okay? I'm very proud of Bristol, and I'm very proud of Middletown. As a matter of fact, I'm taking what I'm doing here tonight, to Bristol on Wednesday night. I think that if the Tiverton Town Council follows the Portsmouth Town Council and Bristol Town Council and Middletown Town Council next week, and we get 4 resolutions from the East Bay to the Director of Transportation saying, take your signs down, he may listen. I'm very proud of what we have on the East Bay. This is not the other side. This is the East Bay. And I don't think they're necessary. By the way, when we come across from Fall River to Tiverton, what do we see on 24? Discover beautiful Rhode Island. What is the hallmark of a beautiful state? Less signs. Okay, so I'm very passionate about it, because they don't need to be there. It was a waste. They've come in and just put them up on their state road, and I didn't realize that they're their signs in their state road, but I think the town of Tiverton has a responsibility, besides being a potential, and I said, and this was proven in Portsmouth, danger for motorists. There's enough distracted motorists, okay? Nobody has to look at a roadway sign to figure out what's coming soon. Thank you. If you have any questions, I gave Nancy, I think I emailed you the resolution.
Yes.
There were some errors on the bottom of that, and I do apologize. You all had the same one. Portsmouth made the changes. I can get the changes from Portsmouth tomorrow and send them over to Nancy. They were just grammar and just some spelling. And I can get them over to Nancy. I would hope that the Tiverton Town Council feels as passionate as I do, and how the town of Portsmouth feels, and stick together and, tell them to take their signs down. They spent the money. It's so somebody says, well, they spent the money. That doesn't matter. They're ugly. Thank you.
Any questions from the council? Well, not only do they have to pay for the signs, they have to pay to install them. Then they have to pay to uninstall them. So,
And they have to continue to update them. Somebody's got to go put the red, green, and yellow light on them, so I have to say to you, and again, I have to do this carefully, the governor and the Department of Transportation signed off on the roadworks logo, plan, truck toll, and everything else that goes with it on May 15th of 2015. I believe that there is a subliminal message so that we all get to feel that roadworks, okay? But I have to say, what does a sign that's put up on December of 2016 that says coming soon, fall of 2017? It's 9 months later, so, excuse me, and I have to say the de-installation is 2 bolts, right, because they're the breakaway things. I would not think that there's a lot of expense there. But they just don't give the town of Tiverton, or the town of Portsmouth, or any of the cities and towns in Rhode Island, they're useless. Thank you. There's no intention, is my point.
thank you very much. Any changes in the resolution from the council? Let me just finish reading. How about I just read the resolution so we all get to read it all at the same time? Town Council of the Town of Tiverton, Rhode Island hereby resolves the following. Whereas the Town of Tiverton is a waterfront community with bucolic travel ways, historic properties, and a strong sense of pride, and whereas the Town of Tiverton strives to maintain its rural character, whereas the Town of Tiverton has many beautiful vistas where travelers can view the waters that can help give the ocean state her moniker, and whereas, like daffodils in spring, blue signs have been popping up throughout the Town of Tiverton. And whereas those blue signs are the property of the State of Rhode Island Department of Transportation, and whereas those blue signs are a blight on the rural character of the Town of Tiverton, and whereas those blue signs serve no redeeming qualities to the residents of the Town of Tiverton, and whereas these blue signs create an additional public safety concern, drop the S, due to the public safety is impaired by the locations and content of those signs, and whereas the motoring public does not benefit from the message of coming soon or completed, and whereas these blue signs do not make the department, I'd say Rhode Island Department of Transportation, more transparent, now therefore the Tiverton Town Council hereby respectfully requests that all of those blue signs installed within the municipal limits of the Town of Tiverton be removed by the Rhode Island Department of Transportation by the 26th day of May 2017. This act shall take effect upon passage. By Joan Shabbat, President, dated and attested to by the town clerk. Any changes? I kind of like it. Do I have a motion to approve the resolution to remove the blue signs?
That would be the motion, but can that motion to approve be subject to editing for grammatical?
Yeah.
Subject to editing for grammatical errors.
Errors.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Very good.
Thank you.
Unanimous. Good luck in Bristol and Middletown.
Middletown next week.
I kind of like it.
Excellent. Oh. Now we're back to the end.
Yeah, and it's not even 9 o'clock.
Very good. Closed executive session. Do I have a motion to,
I make a motion to enter closed executive session, Counselor Shabbat, 42-46-582, litigation, Four Corners.
do I have a second?
Second.
Mr. Perry?
Yes.
Mr. LeBeau?
Yes.
Ms. Ryan? Yes. Yes.
Yes. And I'd like to make a motion to enter closed executive session, solicitor RIGL 42-46-582, litigation, Tiverton v. James and Melissa Pelletier, SU 14-123, SU-14-124, SU-14-298.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
We are now in closed executive session.
I'm going to take a 10-minute break.
Done.